And welcome back to another episode of Joel's Mind Podcast, where we talk about becoming a better version of you. And in today's episode, kicking off our business segment, I am humbly grateful and honored to have Miss Anjelica Reyna-Mora on the podcast today to kick off our business segment. And so with that, Anjelica Reyna-Mora is the owner, the founder of Reyna Royal Arrangements.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here, and it's honestly a privilege, and I'm excited to see where this takes us.
Oh, thank you. And yes, I'm gratefully equally honored and just super excited to have you here. But honestly, I'm super happy to be able to witness like your journey and where you started and now where you're at.
Thank you. Yeah. Honestly, it's been such a beautiful journey to honestly live myself and to have other people here that also get to experience that with me. It's beautiful to kind of see where you originally start from and kind of like a seed where you grow into, and to have people along that journey that really get to see you from the beginning to the end. Not that saying that this is the end, but this is like a part of the journey.
Yeah.
It's beautiful, and it kind of makes you acknowledge and kind of see, where you start and where you end. And so thank you for being part of that.
No, absolutely. I'm so it's just been so awesome. And to see you do your deliveries, and I'll take a moment here to show our little royal arrangement we got made for the podcast. So thank you so much for this little gift. I appreciate you. But to see from when you were delivering them, there's been a few times you've made some arrangements for Lupita on my behalf, because Lupita loves
your queen.
Yeah, exactly, for my queen. And no better to ask another queen. But to see you come and drop off flowers here, and now you have your own shop, and now you have your own setup, and so there's definitely been some tremendous growth, and you've been paving the way for yourself and building your clientele and collaborating with other businesses. So
yeah, it's been an interesting journey to say the least, but also so humbling, and it's really beautiful to see how you can grow from, just like you said, just delivering small little arrangements to certain people, and then eventually having a storefront. And it's like a literal dream come true that I, to this day, I wake up in the morning and I'm going to work, and I'm like, oh, I get to come to work to this bake shop, which it's the Little Bake Shop. If you guys don't know, my flower shop is above the Little Bake Shop. And so, yeah, when I walk in there every morning, it's like the smell of the baked goods when you just literally walk up.
Oh man.
And then the sunrise in the morning, like this morning when I was looking at the sunrise and then walking into work, and I was like, oh, I get to live this, and this is
what
the
a
life
dream. I love
that I came and made into fruition. And so
yeah,
it's beautiful, and it's been a journey getting there. And so I feel like this podcast is a way to kind of share my story, and I feel like if you've followed me, you've kind of seen how it has kind of came into fruition. But being able to verbally say it myself, it's so surreal. It literally feels like a dream come true. So thank you for letting me share my story, and again for allowing me to be on your podcast to share that with everybody that gets to hear this and that follows you and is here with us today.
Yeah, no, thank you. You are also, bringing your audience as well, and all your supporters. So thank you for, allowing this to be a space where we both, get to emerge our audiences and talk about you and talk about your growth and talk about some of those challenges. And so, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Oh,
Super grateful. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning. I know a little bit more about, I think, kind of where you started off with your business, but let's go ahead and give the audience and paint them a picture of when you started coming out of school and then going into your profession and then leading up into your business. And so however you want to deliver it, please go ahead, but please.
Oh man, okay, so I don't know where to start with this, honestly, because it feels like such a journey, and a part of me wants to take it back to where I originally came from and when I started, when the seed of me was originated.
All the way back to conception.
To conception, literally.
We're getting the
Because
exclusive.
I can start back to where I was, in college, but like literally the story of me starts from birth. And I'm getting kind of nervous because it's not something that I've talked about a lot, talked about with family and stuff. But yeah, so with that, I want to go into me coming into fruition. And so that's going back to 1995, 30 years ago, actually. We go back to Mexico, and that's where my mom and my dad were living at that time. And it was 1995, and they were pregnant with me. And the day that my life the trajectory of my life kind of shifted was this day in particular. And this day, my mom and my dad had gone to visit my grandma, and it was a ranch in Mexico, a little ranchito. And my dad had built a house for my mom, like about 5 to 10 minutes away from where my grandma lived, like walking, driving distance. And so anyways, they had gone to visit my grandma that night, and it was time for them to go home. And I guess that my mom was like, oh, hey, we're leaving. And my grandma was like, oh, quédense un ratito, or like stay the night, and trying to convince me to stay. And my mom and my dad were like, oh no, like it's time to go, like we're gonna go home, we're gonna call it a night. So they get up, they get in the truck, they drive home, or they're driving home, and then they get to the house. And at that time, my mom and my dad had a fence, which you call the falsete, that you open, and you kind of have to like drag it out. It's not like those cool fences that have like their own like wheels and you retract. Obviously back then, yeah, your wired fences. So yeah, so I guess that my dad was driving at that time. My brother and my sister were. It was a truck, so there's only like the front seat. So it was my dad, my brother, my sister, and my mom. And I guess my dad asked my mom to get off and open the faldete because my brother and my sister had fallen asleep. Because it was like late at night, like 8, 9 p.m. And so, yeah, my mom gets off to open the falsete, and she gets off and opens it, and my dad's reversing, parking the truck. She says she doesn't get to close the gate when she turns around and she sees the truck is like rumbling, like going down the hill. And so she like panics, and she sees, and basically at that time the truck had already disappeared. And so my mom was in shock at that time. Like I said, she was pregnant with me. And so she actually ran for help, ran back the route that my dad had driven back to my grandma's house, and asked my uncles. My uncle at that time had a truck, so he drove back to where my dad and my sister and my brother were. And I guess that when they found my sister, she was like closer to the top of the hill, because somehow my dad had managed to throw her out of the window and saved her life. And when they found my dad, he was on top of my brother, hugging him. And so they took them to the hospital, or they were on the way to the hospital. And unfortunately, the truck had gotten half of his body, so half of his body was paralyzed. And on the way to the hospital, he passed away. And so it was just such a tragic accident.
Yeah.
Literally unexpected and late at night. And so, yeah, very unfortunate. And my mom at that time, like I said, was 6 months, I think 5 or 6 months pregnant with me. And so my life completely shifted at that time, because, I wasn't born, but at that same time, everything that was going on around me was changing the life of my path, and, what was going to happen next. And so my mom had to make a very, very strong decision at that point. And she was kind of left with staying in Mexico and, building a life there, or her brother at that time was living in the U.S. and told her, like, well, I'd be willing to help you come to the U.S. You can stay and live with me, and I'll help you. And he had his wife at the time, but they didn't have children. They couldn't have children. He was like, bring the kids. We'll help you with them. Yeah. And so my mom was, it was like a hard decision at that time, but I felt like it was kind of a decision that she felt like she had to make, because she felt like there's only so much that she could do, and she was limited to do in Mexico, and to be able to provide, because he was the sole provider. He was, he built her house, and at that time actually he was working in the U.S., so he would come and work and go back and live his life. And so he had his, I don't know if at that time it was like a bracero program or a type of program that there was, where you can do that. And it was at that time where my mom had talked about that they were like going to potentially like fix papers, and you dream about a life with your partner, with what it is that you want to create. And so she talked about how basically all that was kind of like taken from her, and she had to kind of start over. And so yeah, that's kind of how the trajectory of my life kind of started. And so she immigrated to the U.S. So that happened in April, and by June she immigrated to the U.S. In August I was born.
Oh, wow.
In Yakima, little old Yakima.
Yeah, good old Yakima.
Little Yakima.
I'm proud Yakima.
Right? I'm proud. No, I'm so happy and proud to be a part of the Yakima community. Because honestly, I feel like the trajectory of my life has kind of led me here. And it's all honestly for a reason. We were all, guided into the path that we're meant to be in.
No, thank you so much for sharing that. I could imagine how that has played a significant role throughout your life. And yes, and while you're in the womb, ironically, I was actually listening to this today. I was listening to a podcast about grief and how trauma is formed in our bodies, and mothers experiencing trauma and experiencing different emotions and experiences while they're pregnant has a impact on babies in the womb, and like the importance of like having low stress, and like how like it contributes to whatnot. And so that's the irony of like literally listening to that today, and having you share your experience with us and starting there. And so thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you for being able to resonate and understand that, because I feel like for the longest time during my life, I feel like I would be told that I'm too soft, too empathetic, too like I would just feel too much, and and that a part of me always felt broken. Like a part of me always felt like, why do I feel so much? Yeah. And then when I went to college, that's when I started to learn about childhood development and what happens on, when you are raised in a happy, healthy environment, and what happens when you are raised in an environment that is full of stress, full of toxicity, full of, when you're built on survival. And so I was like, a lot of it kind of like when I was in college started to make sense to me, that I was like, reading books and learning about it was like, oh, like I'm not broken. Like it makes sense why I'm so emotional, why I feel so much, why, there's so much that happened to me while I was in the womb, that like now, like being out of the womb, like I still feel that deep empathy for that deep compassion for whatever it is that someone else is going through. And I feel like it's helped me to come full circle to just realize that like there's not something that's wrong with me, that it's something that happened to me, and it's something that I can learn. Eventually you learn to cope with, and you learn to accept it as a part of yourself, and it's not something that's wrong with you.
No, that's beautiful how you're able to grow from something that has been a tragedy, but also like just detrimental to everyone involved and infected, but I can hear the strength, and I can hear the hope in your voice and in your story. And I would agree, you almost have a superpower of being able to connect with others in a unique way. And I think in today's world, we need that. We need more compassion and more understanding. And so I think, despite the tragedy, I think something beautiful came out of it, and you came out of that. And
thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that perspective. And so now going back to the story of how I came about, but so basically that's what led me here back to Yakima. And now I feel like a part of me feels like I have to give back to the community, and like I want to give back to people that came from my background. And so that's where I feel like my trajectory of my life kind of shifted. And that's kind of what led me to do the career path that I chose when I went to college. Because my mom, she immigrated and she didn't have much growing up. When you grow up low income, and it's kind of something that, you, as a kid, you don't really like notice it, unless you have other you know, people that you go to school with, and, you know, they have their things, you know,
Kids
but
being kids.
kids being, yeah.
Right, yeah.
And so,
Little assholes. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, so you grow up and you're just like, oh yeah, I have the cooler shoes than me, but you know, it's something that, you know, growing up, but you really appreciate where you come from, and being able to buy that one pair of shoes because your mom, you know, can only buy you that one pair of shoes for that whole school year. And so, yeah, growing up, I really like saw the struggle, and I really like tried to acknowledge it and not let it define me, but also like just have it in the background, like, you know. And so yeah, I grew up in, you know, downtown Yakima, the poor side neighborhood, and so you grow up kind of wanting more always, I guess, in a sense, but still valuing your past and, you know, where you come from. And so a part of me never wanted to let go of where I came from, because I knew the struggle, and I knew kind of you know, how hard it was to get to where we are. Like, it wasn't like my mom was ever where she wanted to be, because I knew that she was always wanting more for us. But at the same time, like, she worked so hard to get to where she was. And so I you know, wherever it was that we were, like, I valued that place and time. And so, yeah, growing up, when I was in high school, like, I didn't even know what I wanted to do when I grew up. Like, I was like, I don't know, but I want to help people. Like, I want to do something that brings value to people, that makes people feel good and feel better about, like, where they came from. And so when I was in school, I was like, well, the only way to do that was to go into social work, because social work is a way to help people that are living, you know, through it, depending on the field that you would go into. But the field that I wanted to go into was early childhood education. And so it was working with families that were struggling financially or emotionally or cognitively, like, just with different things. And so I wanted to be able to help, you know, those families, and especially the families that come from where I come from, where they were like low income, single parent income. And so yeah, that was always in my foreground. And when I went to college, I was like, okay, well, I want to go and get a degree where I can come back to Yakima and be able to get a job that I can go back and serve my community and show people that where you came from doesn't determine your outcome, basically. And so yeah, when I went to college, what the funny thing is, when I was going to college, I told my sister, I don't want to go like far away. I want to stay in Yakima. Like, I want to stay by my mom. And I feel like a big part of that was played into because of the fact that my mom had to leave her home when I think she was 21 when she left Mexico, and my dad passed away. And so a part of me was like, she had to leave her mom. Like, it wasn't like a choice. Like, it was like basically in order to give us a better life, she felt like she had to. And so for me, I was like, well, I don't have to leave my mom. Like, I could stay here. There's a college like close by. There's YBC. Like, I can stay. Like, I don't have to go far away. Like, you know, to get an education. And my sister was like, well, I mean, no, but you could, like, it, you know, it'd be nice for you, like, because she went to WSU.
Oh.
And so she was very like, you can do it, like, you know, you got this. And I was like, like, as much as I want to, like, I'm comfortable, like, you know, when you get comfortable and you get to where you get. And so she tricked me, like to say, she was like, well, just do your college application, I'll help you, you know, I'll look it over, and if you get in, you can decide whether you want to go, and if you don't get in, then you don't have to go. I was like, okay, I could do a college application. You know, we can do it. And so, yeah, we go to the library here in town and start typing up my essay and turn it in. A couple of weeks later, I hear the story like, oh, you got into WSU. And I was like,
you're like,
See, I was like, I'm so happy. Like, I'm like, yay. At the same time, the party was like, oh my God, like, I have to leave. Like, that means I literally have to like
pick up and go.
Like, and then so that for me, it was a privilege at the same time, but and I can acknowledge that. But at the same time, it was also like so scary and such a like,
absolutely.
Should I do it? Like, I have my security here. I have my mom here. Like, I can help her here. I can, you know, I keep an eye on her and make sure she's good. And so, yeah, part of me didn't want to leave, but a part of me also was like, this is an opportunity for growth, an opportunity to go and learn and be able to be independentize yourself and, you know, become a better version of yourself.
Challenging yourself and pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. Yeah.
And so, long story short, I ended up actually going to WSU, which is something that I say I didn't want to do, but I'm so glad I did. I'm so grateful for my sister for pushing me, because it's like those people that literally like are that see more in you, and like, and later in life you appreciate that, because at that time you kind of like, you know, you put yourself, like I said, in a shell, and you're comfortable with where you're at, and you don't want to like expand. And so that's those people that kind of see more, and you're like, you need to do it. Like later in life you're like, oh, like thank God that you did that. Like I appreciate you. Like it means a lot for you to see more in me, to be able to, you know, grow.
Shout out to your older sister.
Yeah, shout out to you. Go Cougs too.
I love it.
And so yeah, I went to WSU, and there, that's when I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get my sociology degree. I'm here to get my degree. And honestly, that's all I was focused on, just getting my degree and then coming back to Yakima, because I didn't like being home. I was one of those students that would drive back every 2-3 weeks, and it's not like a thing that I would recommend.
That's a long drive.
Yeah. Oh man, that drive is so boring.
Yeah, I mean, Ellensburg to Yakima is like 45 minutes if you're going speed limit, 35 if you're like using the hills to your advantage. And WSU, that's like what, like 4 hours?
3.5, yeah.
3.5,
roughly.
Yeah.
4, yeah, depending. And there's only one lane, so you're literally like, if you get stuck behind a semi, it could be the 4 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's not pretty. It's not like when you go to Seattle and you see trees and evergreens.
Yeah, different. Like you see all 4 seasons, right?
Yeah, so that was it was a journey. Like I said, it was one of those paths that you don't not that I didn't choose it, because I did. At the end of the day, like, it was something I chose to do, but it was one of those things that I didn't necessarily like, want to do, but it was like one of those things that like, I'm so like looking back and I'm glad I did it. And it was an opportunity of growth, like I said. And so yeah, I was there for 4 years, got my bachelor's degree in sociology. And when I graduated, I was like, I'm gonna go back to Yakima. I want to get a social work job where I can like help families, and like families like that come from where I come from, and I can show them like, oh, like I went to college and like I got my degree, and like now like I'm like giving back, and like that was like my like ultimate dream. And so yeah, like I came back, and funny enough, when you go to college, you come back, you're not like rich, you're broke. You're like you not that I had like debt, because honestly I'm very grateful. I had scholarships, and I was able to like
nice. Good for you. Yeah.
Do good for myself. But still, like, I had to come back, and I was at the point where I was like, okay, I can get an apartment, or I can live with my mom and like have a little extra income, because she was like, move in with me, and you don't have to pay like rent, but like if you want it, you can help me, and but don't feel pressured. And I was like, yeah, well, like, I mean, that's helpful. And I was like, well, I'm really thinking of getting an apartment. Like I want to live by because at that time I was so used to living on my own, living by myself, having my own rules. Going back to living with your mom.
It's so different, right?
So
like
different.
Yeah,
you gotta abide by the rules, be back by 10
Being
p.m.
independent. Yeah.
And so I was like, oh,
no one's judging you if you're eating McDonald's at 2 a.m.
Exactly. Or at that time also, I was living with my little sister, or she was in high school at that time, and so going back and then invading her space, because she had just had her own room. Because growing up, I didn't mention this, but we grew up in a 2-bedroom house. So it was my mom and then 4 kids. Okay. Eventually my stepdad came in the picture. So it was my mom, my stepdad, and then eventually. So anyways, it was like a 2-bedroom house, so we never really had our own space. And so when I went away to college, it was like that own space. Like I had my own room.
So in college, did you have like a studio, or was it an apartment?
It was an apartment.
Apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, you definitely had your own space.
Yeah.
Own bathroom,
room.
everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So coming back to mom's house was like, oh man, like what did I do? Like, is this the right choice? And so mom was like, oh yeah, you go save your money, and eventually you can buy a house. And I was like, you know what? Like, yeah, you're right. Like, okay, this is right. This is the right choice.
How old were you when you graduated and then moved into your mom's house? Or moved back into your mom's house?
I want to say I was 22. 21 or 22. Yeah, around there. Because, so I was 21. I think I was 18 when I went to college. Okay. So yeah, going back to my mom's at 20 was like, what am I doing?
Yeah,
like, it's just like, you want to feel like you're like grown, like you did it right.
You are grown at that age,
right.
But yeah, having that freedom and independency, and then having to downsize so much, and then also share space, and then you're under your parents' supervision. Really
humbling experience. Yeah. And so being there, like I said, it was really humbling, but it also made me really appreciate like my space and my time, and it made me crave that more. And it made me be like, okay, like that is why you're living here, because eventually you do want to have your own space and you do want to work for that and you do want to have that, and that is your goal. So just remember that, like, in the back of your head, like, you're only here temporary, like everything is temporary.
Yeah, 100%.
And so that's kind of like what kept me going. And so yeah, I came back when I graduated. I think I graduated in May.
Nice.
And then it was June, July, August, so summer, right? And I was like, okay, it's just summer, like, enjoy yourself, like, you know, you don't have to worry about getting a job. But a part of me was also like, you have to get a job, like, you know, like, you're an adult now, like, you just graduated from college, like, it's the right thing to do, like, get a job. And so I was applying places and I wasn't hearing back, I wasn't getting anything, and I was starting to feel like a failure, like, okay, like, nothing's happening, like, nothing's clicking, I'm not getting a job. And eventually, really random, I wanted, like, to veer off because I randomly won a giveaway from, like, an influencer, and I got sent out to LA. Really random. It was like one of those things that I was like, this is so random, like, I can't believe I won this. And I went away, and I was like, it was like a little surreal type of moment. And it was like my influencer moment where I was like, okay, do I want to be an influencer? And I was like, no, like, girl, reality check, like, you're trying to get, like, a real world job. And so yeah, anyways, I went away and I did that. It was Huda Beauty, and
Huda, like, from
Huda, not from Love Island, but they made a collab, which is really funny. I love them both. But yeah, it's really funny, really random. So I went to LA and I had, like, the best time on Beverly Hills Boulevard. I got my fancy blowout, and I lived an experience that was like something that little old me would have been like, you're in LA right now and you're, like, walking down, like, the boulevard, and they're like it was just, like, so surreal to me that I was like, oh, like, this is an experience that, like, one day I can have again, like, you know, because it was a paid trip. It was the Huda flew me out to LA, and then I ended up having dinner with her, and it was like this really cool thing. And
wow, that's so. Do you still stay in contact with her?
No, I wish. She did send me care packages. Like, after that, she'd be like, if you ever need anything, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. And I did for, like, the first 3 years, and I haven't. I felt like very, like, invasive. Like, I don't want to be like that person, but she did send out products for, like, I think 2 years after that we kept in touch. Cool. Really random. But anyways, after that I was like, okay, so I actually had gotten an email actually that week that I was out there, and they said, oh, like, we're wanting to interview you. And I was like, oh, I'm out here, like, diddly daddling. I was like, I got a real job interview. So then I came back and I got that interview, and sure enough, they're like a week later, like, oh yeah, like, you got the job, like, you know, you're gonna work. And I was like, oh, so
while you're out in LA, you got a call back
from a real world job.
Yeah. And so was that, like, for the interview, or did you already have the interview?
It was to get the interview.
Oh, wow.
And
so how long were you in LA for?
It was just like a 2-day thing, I think. I would say, like, a weekend thing. Like, it wasn't like a big thing, but it was just like a 1 to 2 day thing. Back. But it felt like a dream. It felt like, what? Like, what's going on right now? And so then, like, coming back to that was like, okay, like, whoa, like, I can live that life. Like, I can live, like, the blowout life. Like, because there's women that would just go, like, you literally, like, I had never had a blowout before. Like, and I don't know if you know what a blowout is, but it's like it's like when you go to a bar, like a hairstylist bar, but it's not like that they're gonna cut or trim your hair or anything. They're just gonna wash your hair. So it's like an experience where you just, like, literally wash your hair, and then they blow dry it and they style it to your liking, and then you just walk out looking beautiful.
I can do that. One day anyone in town that want to treat me right? They should start
a blowout bar here in Yakima, because honestly, it was an experience, like, literally just like a bougie experience. Like, you're just like, oh, like, this is nice. Like, you know, one day, you know, I want to be able to have the time to just come and do this and just you know, just get that done. Like, I don't even have the time for that now.
So is that, like, for the experience for the salon people to, like, get their experience, or is this something you have to pay for?
It's something you pay for.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
I was just curious, like, if it was like, okay, but that makes sense.
No, yeah, you definitely, yeah. It's like it's like a hair treatment, I guess. Like a bougie hair treatment.
Yeah. Okay. Like I mean, obviously, like, I get my hair cuts, but, like, I guess now that I have long hair, like, I could see, like, the experience behind that of, like, getting your hair done and getting it washed, and it's a whole process. So
and then get to go out and you just look, your hair just looks great. And that's the purpose of it, to have it looking, like, big and luscious. Like, that's what the blowouts are. Like, they literally, like, make your hair look like salon, like, stylist, like Hollywood style, like, hair. That's kind of what they aspire for. But yeah, so anyways, look, like,
so you're out there living the dream.
That experience was, like, so surreal. It was like, oh wow, like, this is really cool. And then coming back was like, okay, this is reality. Like, this is my life. Like, this is what I'm gonna do now. Like, I get to have a real big girl job, and I get to serve my community, and I get to give back. And yeah, that was, I was living the dream coming back, the dream that I thought I wanted as well. And so yeah, it was really cool. So in that job, I got to do what it is that I dreamt of as a kid, you know, you would say. So I would go, the position was parent educator. And so I would go into the homes of families. And originally I started with it was like a caseload of like 8 families. And each individual family was a family that I was serving to help them with their individual needs, whatever it was that they needed. Whether it was like something with the child or something that the parents were going through. So if you look at those scenarios, if the child was dealing with learning how to read, learning how to walk, their social emotional skills, like whatever it is that the child was struggling with, like I was there to help serve them, to help overcome that obstacle.
Was it specific to an age group, or did you have a whole range?
So it was 0 to 5.
0 to 5. Okay, cool.
And so that's where like the age range that I thought like I was excited to work with. Like I was like, oh, like the babies, little kids, and because that's when a lot of your early childhood memories are developed.
And everything ties back.
I'm sure you read into that.
Yeah.
And so a part of me was like, oh, I get to go back and give these children the childhood that I didn't get to have, you know, because I grew up very like in not, I guess you would say in survival mode. Like, you know, it wasn't like very like everything was great and dandy. It was just like day by day. You're just living. You're just kind of going through the motions. And so these families, I could understand, you know, the struggles that they were going through because their parents were working day to day, in and out, and, you know, the fields or whatever it is that they were working in, and the children weren't getting a lot of attention. And you can see, you know, how that kind of plays into the development of the child. And I saw it in myself when I went to college, which is crazy because as a kid, you don't see it, you don't acknowledge it. You're not like, oh, something's off with me. But as an older adult or a teen looking back down on your life, you're like, oh, wow, like that really did affect me. Like,
you're learning, as you're learning, you're like, this makes sense because when I was a kid, this is what I would do too. Yeah.
And so you put yourself in their shoes. And so being able to do that was like really cool for me. And so, when I got into that field, that's a lot. What was really cool about that job was, aside from working with the child, you were also working with the family as a unit. And that was what completely like shifted my mind, because it's absolutely right. When you're working with the child, like you can do so much with the child to help them, but when you're not helping the family unit, whatever the family is struggling with, the child is also struggling with, whether you think about it or not. Like if the mother is being abused, and the child is experiencing that, like there's certain things that the child is experiencing that you might not want them to, but inexplicably, like they're just like they're going through the motions, and so
like they're also learning how to cope, or learning what, like, you know, when these loud noises start to happen, I start to shut down, or I start to act out, or, you know, absolutely.
They react. And it's subtle things, but, you know, if you look at the bigger picture, you're like, you start to understand things. And so that's why I really love that program. Why I was like, oh, this is like a great program. Like, I'm so excited to be a part of this program. Like, I'm excited to be a part of this field. And so, that was great. It was something that, like, it was a dream come true. Like, I was so excited to work there. And slowly, sadly, but I started to realize that job was very emotionally draining. And it was because I was such an empath, because I would put my heart and soul into everything that I would do.
100%.
And especially the families that I was serving. And the hard part about that was not everybody has the same heart as you. And so my coworkers, there was like about, I want to say 6 or 7 of us. And, you know, as you start to work in a environment, you start to like see people's personas, and, you know, how everybody interacts, and
how they bring themselves
how they
to
bring
work.
how they, you know. And so I was very excited and adamant about like the activities that we would do for the children, and like, oh, like this child is struggling with walking, okay, I'm going to do an activity that helps them like balance and that they can learn how to walk. Oh, this child is struggling with math, oh, I'm going to bring an activity like that teach them like with numbers and like blocks, and we can do this activity. And so I would always like personify, like, I don't know what the word is, but like direct each activity to each child. And then I would slowly see like, oh, this coworker, like, oh, she makes the same activity for all 15 kids, like, and it's like, oh, she's just making her job easy, like she's not
like a one size fits all.
And I'm like, whoa, like,
and like, obviously people in the field, they know like that's not like I mean, I would say not ethical, like, you know, you can't apply the same strategies or programming for an individual that's not meeting that criteria.
Yeah, you're taking away from that family. There's services that you're literally deliberately, like, whether you're being lazy or you just think that you're serving them in a different way. You're not serving them. That's how I kind of saw it. At the end of the day, I was just like, wow, you're really doing a disservice to these families. And it made me realize, like, as much as my heart was into it and I wanted to help these families, like, they were not getting the help and services that they needed. Like, and I couldn't help everybody. Like, I started off with 8 families, and eventually I think I ended up with like 19 or 20 when it was a time where I wanted to quit, where I was like, I can't do this anymore. And it was at that point where I was like, you can only do so much, like, and I was serving and doing and providing whatever I could to each of these families. And then it was a point in my life where also, like, I was taking on a lot, and there wasn't a way to, like, let it out, and I didn't know how to do that, and I think at one point I did end up going to counseling, because they were like, oh, well, you just need to go to counseling, because that was like the answer to get into things. And I was like, okay. So then I go, and then they diagnose you with anxiety and depression, and I was like, anxiety and depression? I don't know her. Like, what? I'm a happy person. Like, what? How am I diagnosed with anxiety?
Like, it's not that deep.
Like, no, like, what? And so but it was crazy, because it got to the point where I'd be like driving to a home visit, and I would be, just driving, and I'm going to the visit, and then my hands would just start like shaking, like deliberately, like, and I would look at my hands and I'm like, why am I shaking? Like, what is going on? Like, and so it was one of those things where it was like a moment where I was like, okay, there's something wrong. Something's going on, like, your body's reacting. And I think at that point too, I started taking on a lot of the trauma from the families. And so I never really knew what I was walking into, because I would do the home visits in the person's home. And so some days you'd walk in and, the child's, great and dandy. Other days you'd walk in and
they're in crisis.
It's a crisis that just happened. And so you never knew what you were walking into. And so I think that was like a trigger for me. And also something that I hadn't, like, coped with as a child, because I think as a child you go through things, and you, like, block them. And so then when you're, like, as an adult, you're, like, living through these, events, you go through them, and you're like, is this like real life right now, or is this like me as a child? Like, it kind of, like, it was like a super trigger moment, because honestly there was one family in particular that I think that I kind of related to too much. And it was a mom, and she had her husband, but the husband would force her to work, and he would take her paychecks, and then he wouldn't allow her to do anything. Like, it was only like if she can go out if he went out with her, and she had 3 children, and it was 2 girls and 1 boy, and my mom had 2 girls and 1 boy at the time when we were, like, really, really young. And so and then she lived behind an alleyway, and we lived behind an alleyway. And so when, like, just driving to that house, it was like literal, like, just bringing back those, like, old childhood memories.
Would you experience some of those shakes going to the house?
Literally.
Would it be just that house, or would it be other houses?
It was started to get to other homes. To where it originally would kind of just be like hers, where it was like, okay, because you didn't know what you were walking into. And that particular family was one that really, like, touched my heart, because you think you're trying to help when you are in the social work field, and you think you're helping, and you think your heart is in the best interest out, and so that particular family, something happened where the husband did something to her, and then I reported it because I'm a mandatory reporter. And so then after you report it, unfortunately, like, fortunately and unfortunately, things get talked about, and then a source comes out that because you were the one in the home. So, it comes out that you told them. And then that relationship kind of, like, crumbles, because they don't have that trust in you, because they're like, I told you something that was supposed to be between you and I, but at the same time, it's like, you're a mandatory reporter, and you're looking out for the best interest of your client, and also you put yourself in the shoes. And I was at the same time, I was putting myself too into her shoes, because, like I said, it was my mom that experienced kind of something that she was experiencing. And so that was also my mistake at that same time, to be able to, like, be like, at this point, I wish my mom would have had this source, and so being able to give that source to that woman, at the same time, her not see it that way, kind of made me feel like, oh, like, I am overstepping at the same time, but at the same time was like it's not right.
There's also, this is also a resource, but also, like, obviously there's, like, a bias there, right? Like, you want them to take it, but there's a little more there for you, where it's like the disappointment it was felt a little stronger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the distrust too after that, where she just kind of felt like she kind of couldn't tell me much more after that because she said, you know, you overstepped your boundaries. And so it was a very hard job. It was just a hard job where I kind of felt like I was in the middle too much, and I was overthinking, and I would get in my head a lot, and I lost a lot of weight. Like, I'm a very like small person, and I think at that time, like, my normal weight was like 115, and at that time I was like 95 pounds. Oh, wow. It was to a point that it was like my mom would see me and she's like, are you good? And I'm like, oh, I'm fine. She's like, no, you look like you're losing a lot of weight. And I'm like, oh, like, yeah. And then, you know, you start to realize, okay, I think there is something wrong. Like, I'm getting shakes when I'm driving. My mom's telling me I'm too skinny. Like, and also I kept a journal, which I brought with me. No. But it's really cool that I kept this, because you look back and you think, because like I said, I'm a very like happy person, and when they diagnosed me with anxiety and depression, I was like, I'm not depressed. Like, I don't have anxiety. Like, what do you mean? Like, like, that's not me. I'm a very happy person. But then I started to look back at my journal and like my journal entries and how many times I was like today was a really hard day. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like, this is like not normal. And so I started to look back on that, and all these little blue notepads, or when I was like reflecting of like, oh man, like, those are really hard days that like I don't feel like I should be going through that many hard days, you know. And you know, there's only so much a human can handle, right? And so like I said, me as a person, I always felt like I was a very positive person, very uplifting, and seeing how many times I had like felt not myself, I was like, that's not me. Like, I need to find myself. I need to see who I am, and I need to find her again and find that happiness. And so that's kind of where the trajectory of my life really shifted. And I'm sorry it took so long to get here. No, but yeah, that's where my dream was. Like, growing up, I was like, okay, I want to go back and I want to give back to my community. I want to be a social worker. And so I did all that. And then I got to the point where I was like, okay, I think I need to switch career paths. But also a part of me was like, you went to college for this. Like, you spent 4 years, you got your degree, and you wanted to do this, not like suck it up and do it. And a part of me was also like, but like, I can't do it anymore. Like, there's a part of me that just feels like, so like the life is sucked out of me, that I just can't keep going. Like, I can't keep showing up for these families. I can't show up for myself. Like, and so I'm not doing a service to them if I'm not good. Like, and so it was at that point where I was like, okay, I think I have to quit. And it was such a hard moment. Like, I was literally like crying, and I'm gonna look back at the journal entry where that day is. So this is September 16th in 2018. Okay. And it says
September 16th. Wow,
so we're
almost there.
Yeah, there. 7 years.
Yeah.
7 years. So then we say cycles are in 7 years. It's just crazy to think about. So let me read a little bit of it. It says, I can't sleep. There's a lot on my mind. And also I took a nap earlier. I think I'm at a point in my life where I'm feeling stuck. I want to change my job. I want to move out, buy a home. I want to go back to school. I just don't know what my next step is. I'm scared that I won't make the right choice. This is kind of embarrassing, but I stopped writing because I saw ants that I thought were bed bugs. Now I'm grossed out and I don't want to sleep on the couch, and I don't have another option. I can't wait to move out. I'm going to miss my mom though. I just hope that I can stop overthinking and that things fall into place soon enough. It's just really hard right now. I hope that it gets easier. I just have to try. I just have to have a positive state of mind and remind myself that I'm doing good and that better things will come with time. I just have to have patience. You got this.
Wow.
So random, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm so grateful to look back at that and to just say like, wow, that was a part of me that was feeling so down and so unsure of what the future held.
Yeah.
But there was a part of me that was like, stay positive.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay. Like, and I hate to say that I was embarrassed of that, but like my mom, that sadly enough, she had like an ant problem.
Dude, we all do. Yeah, no.
Yeah, so we grew up.
Summer comes around, spring comes around.
Yeah, watermelon, all of it. So yeah.
No, you're totally valid in feeling like embarrassed, but also like there's been times where we walk out our kitchen and like there's ants everywhere, and we're like, dude, we're disgusting, you know. But it's really just the season, right?
Yeah, they chase the food.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, finding them on my bed, and it was at the point in time where, like I said, I was living with my mom. That was in 2018. I had just graduated from college, but I had my big girl job, and I was living at my mom's house. But I was also like, okay, one day I'm gonna move out. One day, like that's what I'm working for. But at the same time, I was like, I hate my job. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like what I'm doing right now. Like, I hate getting up in the mornings, like, and I hated that so much. I like, you know, you don't like that feeling, you know, when you get up in the mornings, you want to feel excited, you want to feel happy about what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, during that time, when I decided to quit, I was babysitting really randomly, but shout out to Kathy Redifer. She, I used to babysit for her when I was in high school, when I went to college, and then when I came back and I started working as a social worker, she was like, if you ever have weekends, like send me a message. If you want to come babysit. And I was like, oh yeah, like I'd love to babysit on the weekends. And that was also a time for me to get away from like my home. Cause like, it was like, you live with your mom, and it was also like a time to like go, and like, I would put the kids to sleep like at 7:30. And then I just have like some downtime to journal. That's when I would journal. Like I would literally get my journal and then have some like alone time, some peace. So like,
I have a question about your journaling. Were you journaling before, like, you started going to counseling?
Yeah.
Okay, so journaling has been something that you've been doing, like, since you were a kid, I'd say?
No, not a kid. I started it when I studied abroad, actually, when I was in college. When I was in college with my best friend, her and I were really crafty, and we really like to do things like this. And I don't know if that's kind of how this started, because actually, when we were in middle school, she gave me a journal when we were, I think it's like 7th grade, because she was moving away, and we wanted a way to keep in touch. And so I don't know if that's kind of how it stemmed, but it was something that kind of just like started. And then when I went abroad, it was something I wanted to journal. I wanted to like remember, because I do not have a good memory. I don't like to admit that, but it's just something that like,
I like to think I do, but
it's just like memory is just kind of like, if I have pictures, like great, but like, so I wanted to like remember every single moment. So having a journal was a way for me to like document moments that like, I wouldn't remember necessarily. And so after I started that, I think that was 2016 we went abroad. So 2018, 2019, I just kind of kept journaling, and I kind of fell off the wagon this past like 2 years, which I'm really sad about. But like, it's so cool to like have a journal and to look back. Like I said, all these blue notes, I'm like, oh, like wow, like to be able to look back at that, it's just so beautiful.
Do you color coordinate it? Like, are the blue notes, does that like signify something?
No, that was just in this journal because of the sadness that I was feeling, feeling of like not knowing who I was. I was like, okay, let me go back and look at every single time that I felt like that, because it was something so abnormal for me. And so having that journal was what like helped me be able to go back and reflect on it, because it's
good for you. I'm so proud of you for analyzing yourself and your situation. And I can only imagine how you were feeling at the time. Like, I went to school for this, and this is not what it ended up being. And then having like physical like manifestations of like what's going on mentally and emotionally, that like you're having anxiety and depression, you're not able to eat, you're not able to sleep, to be able to look back and be like, okay, I need to do something. And I think that is some of the most hardest parts we encounter, is like doing something, you know. And so you made that choice to do something for yourself.
Thank you, but it wasn't easy. I'm gonna say it was not something that I was like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna do this. But it was something that I'm grateful that looking back, that I'm able to say that I'm glad that I did. And going back to Kathy, the lady that I babysit for, I was just gonna randomly babysit one night, and it was after I had quit, and I went to her and I was like, I think I'm quitting my job and I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like, I'm so sad. Like, and I was literally crying to her, and she's like, Anjelica, you're fine. You're gonna figure it out. Like, you're young. Like, you got your whole life ahead of you. And I was like, but no, like, you don't understand. Like, this is what I went to school for. Like, my mom immigrated to the United. Like, I wasn't gonna say all this, but it was like, this is the job that I was gonna make my parents proud with, you know. Like, I'm working a big girl job and I'm just gonna quit, like. And I'm like, no, like. And she was just like, no, like, so you're fine, like, it's gonna be fine. She was like, actually, she's like, my husband does bookkeeping for this clinic, and then she's like, I have a friend that owns a salon. She goes, go apply as a receptionist. She goes, you can do it. She was like, it's easy peasy. And I was like, you know what? You're right. I was like, I can do that job. I was like, yeah. I was like, that sounds easy. I was like, that sounds like something that I don't have to stress about. Like, to me in my head, I was like, okay, it's something.
Bring it home.
Yeah, like I can do something and like I can just check people in, check people out, and then I can go home and I don't have to worry about it. Because in my social worker job, that's where I was having the battle between like leaving work at work and then going home and then not worrying about it. And it was so hard. And also because I had like a work phone where I would take home with me, and then I'd have clients like texting me like this and this happened and this that, and so it was never like a way to like detach. And so having that job, which I was like, oh yeah, like I can do that. I can show up, be present, and go home, bounce. You know, like this is great.
Like clock off and not clock on until I'm back here.
And so that was like, okay, I think I could do this. And sure enough, I applied at both. Excuse me. I ended up getting a call back from Muscle Release, which was the clinic that he did bookkeeping for, and they were a medical massage clinic. And when I started there, I was just like, you know, like I can do this. I can check people out. Like this is great. But then you slowly start to like, you know, make friends with clients, and like people like walk in and walk out, and you know you're friendly to everybody, and you start asking them like, how was your treatment? How did it go? And then I'd hear a client, oh, it was so great. Like my neck feels so much better. Like my headache is gone. Like I can lift my shoulder. Like all these things. And so you started hearing. I'm like, oh, like massage therapy. That's like a different way to like help people. Like and I was like, wow. So I started getting like intrigued. And my mom works in the agriculture field. She picks apples. She's been doing it since I was born. And so I was like, oh, if she can get a massage here, like I wonder if we can identify like whether it's like beneficial for her or not. And so then I told her, I was like, you should come in for a treatment like at the clinic I work for, and I want to see like if it's like helpful to you. So sure enough, like I book her an appointment. She comes in and she comes out. She goes, ay, no sabía que mi brazo like lo podía levantar así. Like I didn't realize like I was having that much pain. Like she's like, I feel so like a lightweight, like a feather. And I was like, oh, like that's so cool. Like I'm so glad you feel good. Like I'm like that makes me feel good. Like, and then it kind of like sparked a light in my head where I was like, oh, like I can do that for her. Like I can massage her. Like I think I can learn how to massage. And now I brought it up to the boss where I was like, do you think that I could maybe get my massage license? Like would you be open to that? And it was like after like 4 or 5 months of being there, but it was like something that, you know, kind of like it like sparked something in me where I was like, oh, I can help people this way, like get rid of a physical pain. And because that's kind of why I went into the social work field, was because I wanted to help people. And so then looking at massage from that perspective, I was like, oh, I can get rid of a physical pain, because physical pain was a different type of pain. You think of, you know, emotional pain and what you go through, and then you think of physical, and the body, you know, holds on to both. And so that's where I learned that, you know, and it was able to kind of like put that into perspective where I was like, oh, like this is a different way of, you know, being able to help and serve, you know, people in my community.
No, 100%. And it is like, that's one of the things that my professors also shared with me when I was like going to grad school, and I was basically getting kicked out or choosing to drop out, is like, the funny thing is I worked for a weed farm. And and I felt like at the time, because I just felt also like a failure, like when I was having to, you know, drop out of grad school and be just, you know, find a job. And one of the things that they had said, like, you can still serve others by getting them high, you know. And so they painted in a way that was like, that's not exactly what I wanted to hear, but there was something there that was like, you know, you're right, like I am still of a service, you know. And I think you and I both can relate to like being of service to others, like that matters, you know, like that's something that speaks to us, you know. And so you absolutely, and I've been one of those people that had the privilege and honor to be serviced by you and Lupita too. So that was an interesting career shift that I was just like, wow, I can't believe my life led me here. But it's also like, oh, like this is so cool, like I'm gonna take full advantage. Like when the boss was like, yeah, you can go to school, he's like, actually there's a lot of Hispanic Latino clients here that come, and we can't really service them well because we don't speak Spanish. A lot of our massage therapists, literally, I think I want to say like 90%. There's like I think 1 or 2 that actually spoke Spanish, and we have a lot of you know, farm workers here in our community. And so when they would go to get their treatment, you would I, you know, as a receptionist would
introduce them and say like, oh, this is your therapist, but I wouldn't be in the room with them. Like I wouldn't be asking them like, how's your treatment, how's the pressure, is this the area of concern, like what are you feeling, like all those questions that are really important when you're working on a client, because you're wanting to relieve the pain that they're going through. And so when you're in the treatment room with them for 30 minutes or an hour and you're not able to communicate with them, you're kind of doing a disservice, you know, like it's kind of like
you're going in
you're
blind.
doing whatever, you're doing whatever you can to, you know, to help them. At the same time, you're kind of like, you know, like I couldn't really tell them this or tell them that. And so he's like, yeah, if you want to do it, like that would be really helpful to us actually, because we can, you know, serve more people and, you know, actually give them the treatment that they need. And so, it kind of like sparked something in me where I was like, oh, I feel like I'm useful. I feel like I'm doing something for my community. I feel like I'm doing something for the people, you know, like my Latino family. And so it was really cool, and it opened up a new door for me where I was like, okay, like I think I can do this, and I feel proud about it. Like it wasn't something that I got a 4-year degree in, but I did go to school. It was like a 9-month program, so it was like having a baby, 9 months.
There you go.
A whole 9 months, invested time into that, and it was something that I learned like a lot, like even about myself, because also like I said, I went through a lot of emotional stress where it was like a lot of mental, like a lot of things that are in your head and you're overthinking and you're like, am I doing the right thing? Am I in the right job? And so all the anxiety that kind of like comes about it is from what you're dealing with in your head. And so then your physical body is experiencing what you're going through in your mind. And so massage is a great way to relieve some of that stress, which I didn't, which it's really funny because when I was working as a paraeducator, they would tell me, go get a massage. And I'm like, what the hell is like a massage gonna do for me right now? Like what? Like a massage? Like how is that gonna help me? And as a massage therapist, I was like, oh my gosh, I would have done so much. Like tension, people hold a lot of stress in their neck and shoulders, and you know, you don't really think about it, but it's something that like you can literally go get a massage and you can get it relieved. And it's something that like a lot of people don't think about, don't take it into consideration. But like now I'm like, yeah, you need a massage. Like a massage will really help you. And then there's some people that, you know, don't like massage, which is great. You know, it's fine, to each their own. But if massage is a formality that you feel like you can resonate with, it's something that 10 hands out. 10
out of 10 recommend.
Recommend.
100%.
And so being a massage therapist, that's kind of where my life trajectory kind of like shifted. And while I was there, I was also like finding myself, and I was like, okay, like now I'm doing something that like I'm serving people and I'm proud about it, but also like what's something that makes you happy? Like now you have the opportunity to like seek something that brings you joy, and what is it that's going to bring you that joy? Like, do you want to go back to school? Do you want to like, I honestly didn't know what I want to do, which is really funny.
How old are you at that point when you were like,
I think I was like 23, I want to say.
When you were doing massage therapy, or where you're talking now?
Yeah, I was doing massage when I was probably 23. Yeah.
23, okay.
Yeah, around there. And so right there, when it was at that point where I was like, okay, what else is out there? Like, what else do I want to do? Like, do I want, like, I talked to my husband, I was like, okay, like, and it was really funny because at that time, not funny, but during that time we were getting married, and it was COVID, and there was like so much going on, like so much uncertainty in the world. And at that time, that's when I was like finalizing my massage license, where like I was working the receptionist job, but I was transitioning to becoming a massage therapist, like actually officially. Okay. And so then that like happened during COVID, which there's so much that happened during COVID, but also I feel like COVID kind of really played a lot into it, where I kind of like had that perspective change where I was like, I have to have that positive perspective, because there's so much negativity going on in the world, where it's like you have to have that positivity, and if you don't, it's going to eat you. Like, you know, you'll get sucked into like that like low level headedness. And so I was like, okay, I have to look forward to my massage license that's going to happen. I have to look forward to our wedding that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, our wedding's going to happen. There's nothing that's going to prevent it. Because actually it did get I guess not like cut off, but we had our venue booked and everything, but they told us like, you can only have 50 guests, and you can't have a wedding here essentially. And I told my husband, I'm like, okay, well, we can't have our wedding there, but like we can have our wedding in our backyard, right? Like, because we had just bought our house, which is like everything kind of had happened full circle, like in a like like in a
Like it worked
beautiful
out.
way. Like it just
Yeah.
kind of like happened to like, yeah. Cause I think before that, we had talked about like getting a house, and I was really like motivated to get a house because I was like, I need to get out of my mom's house. Like I need to have like a space. Like
Yeah.
like we need to, and he was like, really like, oh, like, I don't know. Like, you know, he was comfortable where he was at, and like, it's like, that's fine. But I was also like, you know, I think we really should get a house. And he was like, yeah, like if that's what you want, like, okay, let's do it. And so we started like pushing for that. And sadly enough, everywhere that we were like finding a house was like downtown, and I was like, oh God, I don't want to live there. Like, you know, I want to live over here, and I want to live like on like in a good neighborhood. Like I want to have raise
It
our
matters
family.
living in
You know?
Yakima.
Yeah,
It
you know,
makes the difference.
especially when you grew up in the hood. Like, you know, you grew up there, and really funny. But we went to go look at a house downtown, and we were just driving there, and then we saw someone that was like, you know, on drugs, and we like literally looked at them. And we were like, and I was like, oh, that's not what I lived. Like I saw that growing up. Like I don't want that for my child.
Yeah.
Like, and so it was something that like it's like just really motivated me to like keep searching and keep going. And but we weren't really finding anything. And you know, within our budget. I mean, we didn't have like a big budget, but it was something that, you know, this is what we have set out for our home. And his uncle was actually like, well, we're not selling our house, but if you want to come look at our house, you guys are welcome to, and we have renters there, but if, you know, they're willing to move out with a certain time frame, like we can work it out and you guys can buy the house.
Nice.
And so we like looked at it and we were like, yeah, let's go look at the house. Like, sure. And we went to go look at it, and I saw that and I was like, oh my God, like I love this house. Like, I was like, this is where I wanted to live, like as a kid, because as a child, we would pick up my step siblings from that side of town. And so they lived over here by Eisenhower, like on, I want to say like 46 or something like that. But it was like way farther up from where we lived downtown, like on 6th Ave, down, you know? And so I remember coming up and looking at their house and being like, oh, one day, like I want to live in a house like that has a yard, and that has like, I could have my own room. And like, you know, as a kid you dream things like that because you see, you know, other people having, you're like, oh yeah, one day. And so then I remember like looking at the house and be like, no way, like this is where like childhood me wanted to live. Like this is crazy. And so we looked at the house and I fell in love with it. Long story short, we're like, okay, like let's do it, like this is where we want to live. And we signed the paperwork, and that was in October of 2019. And then March is when COVID hit. So it was like 5-6 months after, like when that happened. So it was like perfect.
No one had any information at that point, right? Yeah.
No, nobody even knew anything was gonna happen. And so it was like literally like just perfect timing. The fact that we had our home, and we were like, okay, well at this point, like, okay, we can have our big wedding, but we can have our wedding in our backyard, and it could be intimate, and it could be like our closest family. And that's what's important to us, right? Like, you know, just as long as we get married, right? Like that's you and I, right? And our family and our closest friends, and that's what we wanted. And so we God willing made that come into fruition. And, you know, I'm very grateful for that experience, and just to be able to have that home, to be able to do it. And like it was just like a surreal experience. Like, such a beautiful moment. And so being in that home was when we ended up I ended up shifting my career path and becoming the massage therapist. And then I was also like, okay, what else is it that I want to do? What else is out there? Like, what's my next step? And I'm always like, I don't know if I like this or hate this about myself, but I'm always on to that next thing. Like, what else is something that's going to make me like happy? And so at that point, like massage was fulfilling, but it was also like, I could only do 4 clients a day because I'm so small that like I had all my afternoon, and I was like, okay, what else am I going to do? And we had just like done a lot to our home. When I started gardening, I started going crazy, like planting plants everywhere I could. Like I'd take out like all these pile of rocks, and I'd plant rocks. I'd plant flowers there. And I told my husband, like, oh, like I think I love gardening. Like this is really fun. Like, and then he's like, oh, like, you know, he supports like whatever I do, which is, I'm so grateful for him because he's always supporting whatever it is that sparks my light. And you know, that is. Amen. You can only go so far, you know, but having someone that supports you and supports your spark, even in massage therapy, I want to go back to that, because when I was like, I think I want to become a massage therapist, he was like, okay, like, yeah, let's, like, you can do it. And I was like, what? Like, really? And he was like, yeah. And there's some partners I would be like, no, like, you can't massage, like, you know, you're gonna be touching other people, or like you're just different things, you know, different perspective. And he's always been like, okay, you want to massage? Like, yeah, go massage. Nice. And when I was planning my wedding, it was really funny because I was like, okay, our wedding was getting like a little expensive. I'm sure you know how expensive weddings can get.
Yeah.
And
Quick,
it was like
yeah.
the part of the floristry where I was like, okay, I can spend like 2,000 on flowers, or I can go and buy my own flowers and like make my own arrangement.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I think I can do this because I'm very crafty. Like I love to make things. Like I'm always like doing something. And so flowers, I was like, oh, I hadn't really worked with like artificial flowers, but I mean it's my own bouquet. Like nobody's gonna judge it but me. Like if I hate it, then I'll take it apart. And so I went and I bought flowers and I made my own arrangement, and then I randomly mentioned it to him, and I was like, I think I want to become a florist. And he was like, well, you can do whatever you want to do, babe. Like you can be whatever you want to be. And I was like, okay,
you're right.
I think you're right. Like, yeah, like, Lo, you're literally right. But at the same time, I was like, oh, that's just so random. Like, it was just a thought that came into my head, but also at the same time was like,
yeah,
like, dang, like you're right. Like, I think I can. Like, and that sounds like really fun. And so yeah, that's kind of where like the idea, I want to say, like was planted. Where I was like, I think that sounds like something that I think I want to do. And so looking back, yeah, I did my wedding flowers and it was great. And then we had our honeymoon and I came back, and that was right after I think my massage license has officially gotten reenacted. And I was like able to massage. So I was doing that, and then that's when I was like, okay, I think I do want to become a florist. And he was like, okay, well, like, that's like, what do you have to do it? And like, let's figure it out. And so, yeah, business license, all that fun stuff. Nice. And I actually reached out to Kathy, which is the person that I was babysitting for, because her husband is an accountant and he does bookkeeping. So he has experience with that. And so I asked him, I was like, I think I want to start like a flower business. Like, what do you think? And he's like, well, it's something you want to do. Like, do it. Like, I'll help you with, the paperwork. Like, don't worry about it, because I get overstressed about things like that, like little things, like especially like starting a business. Like it's something like it's so big that you're scared, it's something that you're like, okay, what's the next step? What do I have to do? And you have to make sure you do it right because it's legal, and you have to make sure, your steps you're taken adequately. And so, because also like nobody in my family owned a business, so I wasn't like, it wasn't something that I was like, oh yeah, like it's something that I can just do.
Like, yeah, you have someone you can relate to, or be like, hey, Theo, what'd you do when you did this?
Yeah. And so all of it was so new, but having him was like, oh, okay, like I can call him and he can give me answers, and he was very like willing to help. And there's people that like, are out there that are like happy to help you and serve you, and not looking out to like get something from you. Yeah, like he was just very like, whatever you need, like I'm here to help you, like. And so that like was very reassuring. Like a mentor. And you really need that, like if you're like growing up, especially like how I grew up, because like you don't, like I said, you don't have those type of people that are like our business owners and that have their own things and like even their own home. Like my mom never had her own home growing up, and so yeah, just having those people that you can look up to, that you're like, okay, these people have their own home and they have a stable home. And like when I would go babysit too, like I would like see the way that they lived, and I'd be like, oh, like one day I want to have this for my daughter. Like the way that each kid had their own room and they had their own cribs and they had and then they would read to them before bed, and then all these like little things that like I didn't get to do growing up, that I would like, they'd have their routine and I'd do it with them, and then I'm like, oh, like that's so cool. Like as a kid,
kids love routines too. Like,
yes,
they
thrive on routine. And so that's kind of what gave me that perspective of like, also like what I learned in school, like, oh, like this is like so true. Like, because I would see the kid, the 5-year-old, he was 2.5, I think, when I started babysitting him. By the time he was 5, he was reading. Like I was reading him books when he was 2 years old, 3 years old, 4, and then by the time he was 5, I got there one day and he was like, I'm gonna read you a book, and I was like, you're gonna read me a book? What? Like,
yeah,
like there's no way you're gonna read me a book. Like what? And yeah, and so he started reading me the book, and so to me it was like, oh, whatever it is that you do with your child to help them, like it really plays into action. You can see like it play out. The results, right? And I'm like, wow, like this is so cool. And so yeah, seeing their family and the way they thrived and the way that they lived, and I was just like, oh, like I aspired to have that one day, to have a family unit like that. And so, yeah, they inspired me so much. And
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
So
yeah.
I'm grateful for them.
Shout out to
Kathy and Chuck. You guys are amazing. You guys are the reason I'm literally here today, right now. And so, yeah, he helped me start my flower business. And yeah, that's when I started doing it. I think it was March of 2021. So we got married in 2020. And then by 2021, I was like, okay, I think I'm going to officially start this and do my flower business. And I started it just out of my home with family. And I just started like cutting flowers like from my own backyard. I randomly, Chuck actually gave me the opportunity to plant a whole sunflower field in his backyard.
Nice.
So I mentioned it to him, and I was like, I think I want to do like a whole field of flowers. And he was like, you can do it in my backyard. And I was like, shut up. I was like, you're lying. He's like, no, really, like, I'm not using it. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, if you tell me I'm going to do it, if I can do it, I'm going to do it. And he was like, yeah, do it. And so then, yeah, I ended up planting a whole sunflower field. And it was just like, oh, I can do this. And it's fun. And like, I enjoy coming here and I enjoy watching these flowers grow, and it brings me joy. And then when I get to bring them to other people, it brings them joy. So then it's like a double positive. Like, this is amazing. And so then being able to just see that come into fruition and seeing that people supported me in that was also like, okay, like people see the joy that I get and then see the joy that they get out of this, and it's like a little full circle moment.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, going from serving others to being served, and how that's helped you tremendously, you know, like, just catapulted you into your business and having some guidance and mentorship, and that's beautiful. And that's the beauty of like connecting with others, right? And having those mentors and those you can trust and lean into, especially like we're young, right? You know, there's a lot older, wiser people that have walked way more steps than we have at the current moment. And having those people to give back to us or like learn from, like, it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah,
So that's
very
beautiful.
grateful for them, honestly, because without them, I feel like I said, there's only so much that you can do on your own, but then having the light of other people that like believe in you, whether that be like my husband or Kathy or my best friend, or because those are the people that catapult you into your own light, you know, because you know, I feel like sometimes we doubt ourselves a lot of times. Like I doubt myself so much personally.
Same.
Like you know, and it's like just having the people that are like, you know, just go do it, like, you know, and
you're not down for
right. Like, I'm gonna what do you say it when you shout yourself out? No, I'm gonna put myself out there right now. But with my classes, my flower classes, it was one thing that I talked to my best friend about, and it's been years where I was like, oh, one day when I have my own space, when I have my own flower shop, I want to do flower classes, and I want to do classes where like people can come and hang out, and we can have like, you know, yummy pastries, and we can do a fun activity, and you know, make a great craft, and then take pictures, and it's just like a great time. And then I've talked about it so much where she was like, okay, like, when are you gonna do it? Like, are you gonna do it? And I'm like, and I would tell her like, yeah, like, one day I'm gonna do it. And it's been like what 3-4 months now that I've had my business. And then the other day I called her and I was like, Sandra, I don't know what's keeping me from doing my classes. Like, I told myself, like, once I have my business and once I'm like stabilized and once my wallpaper's up and once it's all ready. And she's like, okay, so what are you waiting for? I'm like, I don't know what I'm waiting for. Like, you know, and she's like, well, and then I told her, I was like, I have to ask people, like, okay, what class do they want to take? Like, do they want to do this type of class? And then what time do they want to take it? Do they want to take it at 4? Do they want to take it at 5?
Yeah.
And then she's like, yeah, she's like, Anjelica, you could do that. She goes, but I think you're really like limiting yourself. She's like, I think you need to put yourself out there. She's like, I think you need to decide what time the class is going to be, what the class is going to be, and you just need to set it, and what's meant to be is going to be, and whoever's going to be there is going to be there, and you're going to have many more classes, right? And I was like, yeah. She's like, so she's like, it's just a learning experience. She's like, you're not going to know what's going to happen unless you put it out there. And I'm like, okay, yeah, like, you're absolutely right. I literally just have to put my class out there. And so yeah, I just launched my class this Monday, and I put it out there. So and I got 4 people signed up already, which I'm really excited about. And it's something like, if you don't put it out there, people won't know, you know, like, and so you literally have to shed light on your own thoughts sometimes, but also have those people that motivate you, like Sandra, that was like, okay, like, come on, like, you know, you said you wanted to do it, like, come on, let's do it, like, okay, like
those gentle reminders, those, like, it's a push, but it's not like, you know, you're not gonna bring someone down doing it, right? You're like, I thought you said this, you're fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not a woman of your word. You know, like, it's not a jab. It's a gentle push.
So I believe in you. It's like,
No, that's good. That's huge, and that's huge. Congratulations. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. So in your classes, is it like a one-time class, or are you taking them through like a series, or is it like workshop style?
Yeah, it'll be a workshop style. So it'll be multiple workshops, which is what I'm planning to do throughout the year. Each class is going to be a different activity. So for this first class, it's going to be pressed flowers, where we're going to make a little glass frame, and you're going to adorn it with, you know, your own flowers and get your creativity flow.
Yeah.
And then for the fall time, I'm thinking of doing like a pressed flower pumpkin class and then flowers in a pumpkin. And the opportunities are just endless. I wanted to do like a father-daughter class, a Mother's
Oh,
Day class. Like there's just so many classes that are in my head that I've been like thinking like, okay, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to do this. And I have a whole journal of like, okay, this month is this month is this, and this month and that. And like, I just
yeah.
literally, like I said, hadn't put it out there. But it's like now I'm like, okay, like I just have to put it out and,
Yeah.
and allow people to experience it. And if they like it, then great. And if not, then we'll try something else.
Yeah.
But this is something that I've been wanting to do. And this is, I feel like, the next step for Reyna's Royal Arrangements. Because I feel like for the past 4 years, I've kind of just been creating arrangements and doing it myself. And I've been learning and taking in a lot of knowledge, and
Yeah.
now I feel like it's a point in my life where I want to share that and experience it with others and allow other people to experience that with me, and that joy that I get while I'm creating these arrangements, because it's
Oh,
so fun, and it's such a beautiful thing to be able to sit with yourself and do something that you enjoy. And I feel like a lot of times we don't take the time to do that, or
yeah.
take the time to do something for ourselves. And so I want to create that space in my shop. And so
Oh,
yeah, I'm looking forward to what comes about from the Reyna's Royal workshops.
I love that. I love that. So we went from conception, from a tragedy and losing your father, and experiencing, that in the womb, and to you being born, moving to Yakima, having different adverse experiences where you're like, what, I feel in my heart that I want to serve. And so you go to school. Shout out your older sister for pushing you to step out of your comfort zone and really, throw yourself out there. You go to Wazoo, get your degree, come back, and I think I'm pretty sure every college student's like worst nightmare is to like get into the field that they're in and to be like, what, this isn't actually for me, or this isn't what I thought it was gonna be. And you overcame that, and you made that transition to working as a receptionist, and then becoming a massage therapist, and then leading up to your wedding, which is that's so iconic. That's so beautiful. Like that's such a happy ending. Like that's such a beautiful way to be like, what, maybe this is something I can do. And in your wedding, you created your own arrangement, which shout out to you, because you made our arrangements for our wedding, and it was beautiful. So
Thank
10 to
you.
10 recommend Anjelica and everything that she does. You do everything with joy, and you can feel it from the flowers, and you can see it in your details. So quick plug in there. But
Thank you.
so you're at your wedding, and you're like, what, maybe I can do this. And then the seeds planted, and it starts to blossom. And now here you are creating these flowers and these arrangements, and now you're able to really serve the community in a way that not only adds, and I'm gonna throw this in there, like something unique to Yakima, because I feel like there's too many damn car lots in Yakima. There's too many damn dealerships. Sorry
Coffee
for
shops.
yeah. There's too many things that are too much the same here. And so like now you are able to provide a space where like you can create a workshop for individuals and community members. And I love that you're thinking outside the box of like tailoring it to certain themes and certain individuals, like a father-daughter date. That sounds beautiful. Even like a mother-son date. Like I'd love to take my mom there and be like,
Yeah.
Mom, this is something like we can do together, and I think that's awesome. I think that's beautiful. And you obviously are successful in it. Like you are not just, creating these flowers in your backyard. Like it started there, but like you've grown to the point where like you actually have this space for yourself. And so it's complete full circle where like you are just starting your path, but to get to where you're at, to get to owning your business and opening those doors, like you've really had to overcome so many adverse effects and experiences where it's really built you to where you're at. But also like I can hear it in your voice, and I can see it in your face, in your eyes, when you light up, when you talk about your royal arrangements. Like there's pieces of you that go into these flowers, into these pieces. But I think what sweetens it up even more is like those highs and lows that has led you to opening up your business.
Absolutely. I think it really makes you value the journey that, led you to where it is that you are today. And it's so beautiful to reflect on. And I didn't mention this, but really randomly, the house that we ended up buying is a couple houses down from where the bake shop is.
Yeah.
And the way that happened, the way that I was telling my husband that I feel like my life was a series of unfortunate events when I was growing up. And then it kind of turned into a series of fortunate events where it was like, okay, I graduated from college and we bought our house and then we got married and then we got pregnant and then I started a business. And so I feel like my life has been slowly flourishing. And I guess you would say that the seed that was buried has now like slowly been growing and flourishing. And so seeing how like my life trajectory has happened, like every day I'm just so grateful for God and so grateful for the opportunities that have led me to where it is that I am. Like specifically like right now, like even in your podcast, like the way that it happened, like when I'm gonna veer off now, but when I was literally brushing my teeth the morning of when I was listening to your Instagram, I set my phone down and I was brushing my teeth when I hear you saying like I'm gonna do podcasts about businesses, and then you mentioned Anjelica Reyna, and I was like brushing and I spit out my toothbrush, and I was like, Anjelica Reyna on a podcast, and because I had just been thinking about like one day I want to be on a podcast. And so it's like you think about these moments of like where you are put in life and how they lead you to where it is exactly where you're meant to be. And so like right now being able to share my story and to be on your podcast, it feels like surreal. It feels like I told my best friend, like I don't even know, like I don't even feel like my story is, not that it's not important, but it feels like I'm such a little minuscule little seed, like you would say, but it's like being able to share that and to show other people that like we are important, and like every little moment, like whether you think it's important or not, it is leading you in the direction that it is that you're meant to be on, whether it is that you acknowledge it or not. And you can choose to look at it positively or you can choose to look at it negatively. And so I can look at my history and I could look at my past and I can say like I've had a difficult life, but also like that difficultness has kind of molded me into the person that I am today. And it allows me to value and appreciate every single moment that has led me to being here. And so that the going back to where the bake shop is, like it's really funny because it was like another one of those surreal moments where I was literally walking with my daughter and I was like, oh, one day I would love to sell flowers at like in front of a little shop, like a little coffee shop. That would be so cool. And then weeks later I'm gardening and the neighbor's like, hey, did you hear that house down the street is going to be turned into a bake shop? I was like, no. I was like, I did not hear that, but that sounds wonderful. Like like a coffee shop in our neighborhood, like walking distance. Like how cool would that be? And then it sparked a seed where I was like, oh, I wonder if they would let me sell my flowers there. Like that would be really cool. Like if they would allow me to. And then I mentioned it to my husband and he was like, oh yeah, reach out to them. And so long story short, I ended up, the neighbor mentioned who it was that bought the house. And he mentioned that it was a Plath. And I was like, oh, I used to babysit for them, like when I was babysitting. And so then I reached out to him and I was like, hey, I heard that there's like a coffee shop opening up in my neighborhood. Do you know of anybody, like any of your cousins that's opening up a shop? And he was like, no, I don't. But if I find out, I'll let you know. I was like, okay, sounds good. So yeah, he calls me back like not even a couple hours later. He's like, oh, it's my cousin. Like she's opening up shop. Like here's her number. And I was like, oh, okay, like now I have the person's number that's going to open up a shop down the street. I have to message her. But a part of me was so scared. It was like, oh, I don't know if I should message her. Like, do you even think she would let you sell flowers? Like, is that, so me limiting myself at the same time. Yeah. But at the same time, was like a part of me felt like I had to message her. Like, like this is like meant to be. Like, how is it like that a coffee shop is about to open down the street and I'm going to miss this opportunity. Yeah. And so, then I reached out. Long story short, she's like, yeah, like, you can sell them on the front porch. And I was doing that for a while. And then she was like, you can sell on the front porch, but there's a whole room upstairs that's like not being used. Like, do you want to rent the room? And I was like, do I want to rent? I would love to. Like, let's look at the room. Let's see, like, oh, what? Like, this would be amazing. And so, then long story short, I ended up renting the room. And now that's how Reyna's Royal Arrangements came to be. And it was like a series, like I say, of fortunate events that just kind of like happened with my neighbor telling me that this is what's going to happen. And then me reaching out and then me having to know or knowing the person that I used to babysit for and keeping good contact. Because, you always build relationships, like no matter where it is that you are, like whatever scenario that you're dealing with, I was just a babysitter, but I was a good babysitter. You know, I took good care of the kids, and
period.
and I was a fun babysitter, and they enjoyed having me. And it was like those things that, you know, you build those good connections. But like, had I been a really bad one, and I, you know, didn't keep a good connection, he probably wouldn't have recommended me or given me his cousin's number and been like, yeah, like, this is Anjelica, like, so and so is gonna call you, and you know, so yeah,
So
it's
you already like a quality person, a quality brand already, just through your work ethic.
Yeah, you gotta build yourself, I think. And so yeah, I feel like that kind of like led me to where it is that I am now, and it's so beautiful to look back on. So thank you for allowing me to reflect on that.
No, yeah, honestly, I am so honored. And yeah, like, even you just mentioning your like the bake shop and being upstairs, like, it was awesome to be a part of Daniel's proposal and like setting that up and like seeing you come together and making that happen. And like, it's been awesome to be so intertwined in the journey, but also, yes, to be intertwined in this way where you know, I really get to learn a little more about you, and we all get to learn more about you and where you started from and where you're at now. And I love your perspective on mindset, because I think that is some of our toughest battles, especially like as a business owner and wanting to become a business owner, is like, how do I take these adverse experiences and how do I find the silver lining in it, and how do I find the light there? And if there's anyone out there that's listening or watching this, like, it is there. It's just a matter of us choosing to look at that.
Yes.
Because it's a matter of us looking at the darkness and allowing the darkness to consume us, or it's us being in the dark but looking at the light,
seeking the light.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I love your perspective on yourself, of you wanting to look at the greater good of things, because I think it's a coping and a safety feature that's designed in us to look at what's going to protect us, and protecting us is looking at the scary things. But what's scary is not taking the risk and not being bold, you know.
And that's what keeps you small as well, because I feel like if you don't face that fear, I think that's what I'm also learning as a business owner and becoming who I am now, is that I used to always be scared to do things. Like, I was scared to go to college, I was scared to get my big girl job, I was scared to quit. But it's like those moments of being scared are what lead you to the path that like you're meant to be on, whether it is like that you choose to take it or not. Like, you could choose to stay scared and stay small, or you can choose to take that next step and allow it to expand you and make you grow in ways that you didn't even imagine. You know, like going to college was like, okay, I don't want to go to college. Like, I'm so scared, but it's like, I'm so glad I went to college. I met new people. I studied abroad, which is like, I wouldn't have imagined going abroad, you know, I was the first in my family. Well, not like, my sisters went abroad to Australia as well. So proud of her too for doing that.
Where'd you go to?
I went to Europe.
Nice.
And so it was really cool to, you know, to go to Europe. Like, nobody in my family had ever gone to Europe. Like, what? Like, I was in Europe.
What part did you go to?
I went to Prague.
Prague. Okay. Okay.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I bet the flowers there were beautiful too.
Oh my gosh, the markets, the farmers market. It's everything is just so inspiring. And that's actually what inspired my flower shop, because it has like this European vibe, this ambiance, and so that's kind of what I want to bring, like this joy and light to the world. And so I feel like you bring a piece of, you know, where your experiences in life, and that's kind of what I bring to my shop. It's if you ever have the chance to go visit, I feel like you want to get that feeling. When you step into certain places, I feel like you get, I personally get like a feeling. And so that's what the feeling of joy is, what I want to bring people when they step into my shop. And that's like, I guess that's how that stemmed from traveling abroad to Europe. It's like a different experience, and I want to give that. Like, not everybody gets to travel. You know, as a kid, I didn't get to travel. I didn't even get to go like on summer vacations. Like, our summers were spent working in the fields, and so it's like you get different experiences. And so growing up, being able to travel and then come back, and then being able to have my shop and bring a little bit of, you know, Europe. I mean, obviously we're not even anywhere close to that, but it's like just that experience and that feeling, and what that invokes in you. And so I want people to experience that.
No, I love that. I love that. You know, and I've been reading this book by Sandy Zimmerman. She's American Ninja Warrior. I just we did our interview recently, and it's not out as of now, but it will be out by the time this is out. But she's an American Ninja Warrior, and so she has experienced a lot of different like adverse experiences growing up. And as you were explaining your story and coming to your full circle moment. It just reminds me of like there's I know there's more individuals out there. There's more little Angelicas that have, entered this world and felt that their story has, you know, didn't set them up to succeed, or they've experienced something very just traumatizing or a factor as to what keeps them feeling small. And one thing that I feel like hearing your story from the beginning to where it's at now reminded me of this page in Sandy's book. And so what she had said was she was talking about her journey in going to grad school, and she actually went to Gonzaga, so she's from Washington. Which, yeah, shout out to all the Washingtonians out there. But she just had also a lot of different experiences growing up, and so but she was also an athlete. She found those individuals in her life that really helped build her and find her inner strengths, and also like coached her, whether that was in the field, like on the basketball court, outside of school, or in school in the classroom. And so she talks about walking, and I think there was an opportunity for her, and she was walking down the stairs from at Gonzaga University, and she's going down to the weight room, and she was told to share her story, and she had this little Sandy's voice in her head saying to share her story. And this is where she says, and for the first time in those 20 plus years, I paused for just a moment to consider it. It was just that pause that I heard a second part. The voice added, but Sandy, it has a happy ending. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I can tell that you've overcome a lot, and to have you here in our community and to have your adverse effects build you, and really goes to show like the strength of who you are, like despite what we're told and what society tells us to do and the boxes that we fit in when we feel emotional or we're too empathetic. It really just goes to show that it's a lie.
Yeah.
And we all have a light, and we all have
Amen.
this potential of doing what we set our mind to. But it really comes down to, having that mindset, having some mentors, but more importantly, believing in ourselves in doing that. So it connected with me when I heard that. And your life is, joy and full of joy. And it does, it's not quite ended, but hopefully it's a very long road. Lord, hear us that it's long and vital, and but it remains happy. But I know you have developed into this amazing woman, this mother, this wife that can endure any stressful situations or anxiety that if they were to come. And so I applaud you, and I commend you for all that you've done to getting here and to opening up your business, but more so pushing the needle and growing your business, because I think that's everyone's risk, right? How do we open up a business and have it be sustainable and be successful? And so, when I'm learning and hearing from you, like, your business is successful because you've built yourself, and you've also been able to tie in your experiences and also your strength and your beliefs and your love and your compassion into a product, but more so an experience.
Yes.
And it's beautiful, and it's working, and people want it, and I'm so excited for your classes.
Thank you so much, and thank you for lighting it in that perspective, and to see you hold space for it is so meaningful, and I am so grateful for your time. And honestly, like you said, my story's not done yet, but it's one that I'm wanting to shed light on, and for people to see it. And in a form of light, because like you said, we all have a light, and my light might have been dark for a certain amount of years. But now I see myself as the person that can ignite my own light, and not only light my own light, but light others.
Yeah.
Because there's so many lights out here that are dimmed, and that just need that little bit of spark. And whether that be us, talking over the podcast and just shining that little bit of light on them, or someone that's, close to them that, believes in them. Like, any little positivity goes a long way, and I feel like we need that, especially right now with the hard times and everything that we're going through. And I feel like a lot of people tend to fall into depression or that depressive state, and it's so easy to fall into that, and it's really hard to find the light even in those moments of darkness. Like in that moment of darkness where I was feeling like so down and out, but I still believe that there's a slight chance that there's that moment of light, and we all have to believe that. And I feel like we all, whether, I know we're all going through difficult times, and everybody's going through their own struggle, but you can be that form of light, whether it is spreading a word of positivity, or smiling at someone, or giving them a little flower arrangement. Everything goes a long way. I just want to be that light in my community, and I hope that my business and my flower shop can help be that light in the community, and that people can come to my shop and feel that joy and feel that light and leave feeling that, because that's what I want to invoke in people. And so thank you for allowing me to share my story and share my thoughts and share my light.
No, thank you. And thank you for, having the courage to come on here and share that. Because I know it's not easy. It is nerve wracking. It looks easier when you get to enjoy
watching it. Yeah,
exactly. Right. You're like, but so now I appreciate you, and I love you guys. I love what you're doing, and I know you're going to be successful no matter what you do, and no matter where your next business adventure goes, and just growing your royal arrangements. And so I love it. So thank you again. Thank you. If anyone wants to follow Anjelica, Reyna's Royal Arrangements is your handle on Instagram. And TikTok,
I do not know my TikTok handle, actually.
I
made two. I think it is Crafting Queen, because I started I was a crafter before I was a florist. That's kind of how I started during COVID. That's how I coped through COVID, was just crafting different things and making different things, and that's kind of how eventually led into floristry. But yeah, Crafting Queen on TikTok, and Reyna's Royal Arrangements on Instagram. And I am located above the Little Bake Shop, and they are located on 411 South 68th Ave on Titan Drive. It's a cute little white house it is a house, and they transformed it into the cutest little bake shop. If you ever have the opportunity to go and check it out and bring a friend and just have a good time, it's the perfect little spot.
Yeah, I love it. Now, before I get you off out of here, I just have one question for you. And usually whenever I have my guests on, I ask them, what is their definition of becoming a better version of you? So in Anjelica's mind, what is your definition of becoming a better version of oneself?
I think becoming a better version of myself is allowing myself to be in the light that I feel like has been dimmed for so long, and to continue to be that light for others. Because I feel like a lot of times, like I said, we limit ourselves and we stop ourselves from becoming that bigger or better version of ourselves. And we're our biggest critic, I think. Yeah. And so I think we have to shut that little voice down of, limiting beliefs, and bring out that version of yourself that you're scared of, but also that you believe in, because I think other people want to see it too.
Yeah, 100%. Well, thank you for that. That is beautiful, and I think it's very applicable to all of us, including myself. So thank you for the gentle reminder to not be afraid of my full potential, or my light.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much.
Your light will shine other lights.
Yes, that's the goal.
That's the goal.
Well, Well, thank you so much, and stay tuned for our next episode. We are gonna have more interviews with our business segment. And if you like today's episode, hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications on your preferred listening platform. And if you want to stay tuned, Joel's Mind Official. You can find me on Instagram or you can find me on TikTok. With that being said, have a good morning, have a good afternoon, have a good evening. Happy birthday. We love you. Peace.
Stay tuned.